Well, we're into hour number 2, simulcasting the syndicated radio transmission at prisonplanet.tv in living color. Joining us from Minnesota, he's about to travel down to Mexico, do some surfing, is former Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura, of course, a star of films like The Running Man, Predator, and many other films. He's hosted a MSNBC national television show. He's hosted NFL football. There's not much this guy hadn't done. And now he's got a huge show. They're saying it's going to be their big push in the winter, their big #1 promoted show. And I'm seeing that now in the media. That's Conspiracy Theory, created by Jesse Ventura. I'm a consultant on it. I'm in some of the episodes. I'm very honored to be involved in it. And to give you the inside scoop, he starts the Media Blitz tomorrow. To give you the inside scoop is Jesse Ventura with us for the next hour. We may twist his arm a little bit in the next hour to take some phone calls, but we'll see. Governor, it is good to have you here with us.
Hi, Alex. Great to be here again.
Are you going to?
I guess I should call you Huggy Bear. and I'll explain that for a moment. No, Alex has been good enough. He appears in a couple of the episodes of Conspiracy Theory that we did, and so because he's the only really reoccurring character we've ever had in the first initial buy, we went back to the old Starsky and Hutch show, and you all remember Huggy Bear, don't you? The guy that always brought the information to Starsky and Hutch.
Yes.
Well, that's you now, Alex. You're our Huggy Bear.
Well, I'm honored to be your Huggy Bear. You've not been able to talk about the show till now. They've unleashed you. You barely talked about it on Larry King Live last week, but now you've been given the green light to give people a foretaste or a idea of what's going to be in the 7 episodes. And so we're all ears, Governor. I mean, tell us about some of the episodes.
Well, first of all, when I went on Larry, it was because, it was election night, and Larry truly wanted my opinion on the latest off-year elections, which I'll do this right now. To me, why do they even have off-year elections? It's hard enough to get people out there to vote. Have them all on year. They do that so that they get a small voter turnout because it's easier to control small numbers. And so that's why that happens pretty much. But that being said, that's why I was on Larry, was mainly for the election stuff, not so much a promotion of the show, because I'll be going back on Larry later on the end of the month, right when it gets to the debut date, which of course is December the 2nd on the 2 channel at 10 Eastern, 9 Central. And so I'll be going back on Larry then, and at that point in time, it'll be a promo for the show. So I just did Larry where they promoted a little bit, but it was mostly on voting, or on the vote election.
Well, Governor, hold on. We're about to go to break, and I don't want to stop you. I want you to have free flow and go over as much as you can tell us about the episodes, because I've consulted some, but I still only have a few pieces of the overall puzzle. And I know that you've stated that you believe this is fair, and from our perspective, probably the first television show ever that's actually from people who questions perspective. That doesn't mean that you or I or anybody buys all of what's being said out there. So I want to talk about that when we come back in just a minute. But in the 1 minute we've got, what is your take on Republicans sweeping all over the country and Obama's plunging approval rating?
Well, I don't think it's so much Republicans sweeping. As you know, they lost that congressional race up in that heavily Republican district in New York that hadn't gone Democrat for 100
but the
years.
Democrats threw that. They threw that. I mean, they had their...
Well, maybe so. Well, to me, the elections are truly irrelevant. And as far as Obama's ratings falling, that's a natural occurrence. I don't want to throw water on the fire or anything for those people that, for whatever reason, but I at one time had 72% approval ratings. Well, certainly by the time you get out of office, mine actually dipped below 50 later.
No, you're right.
When you have to make hard decisions, when you make those hard decisions, some people aren't going to like it, and a lot of people are one-issue people.
Jesse, we got a break.
Change.
We got a break. Stay right there. Well, surf's up, ladies and gentlemen, and here comes Jesse Ventura into the InfoWars. Coming up in early December, the launch of his long-awaited television show, Conspiracy Theory, on True TV. Here to tell us dates and times and inside details first on this radio show. when Jesse called me back Friday evening and said, okay, I'll do your show first, I was extremely honored. And so, Governor, I really do appreciate you coming here first to talk about it. I know the media blitz starts later today and tomorrow. But we were finishing up when you got cut off by that break. You were talking about you're not surprised Obama's approval ratings dropped. Yours went from the mid-70s to the high 40s, but that was 4 years later. My issue.
Yeah, that's true, Alex, but it's going to happen. You know, the honeymoon wears off. The hard decisions have to be made. People many times disagree with those tough decisions, and your approval rating starts to fall. The positive for me, the way I always looked at it, was like this. I was in a three-way race, not a two-way race. I won with only 37%. So even if my approval, say, fell all the way to 45, that was still 8 points higher than what I won with.
Sure, and George W. Bush's went from 92 to 39, but again, that took
so
7...
He had to have been lower than 39.
Yeah, some approval ratings had him at 25. I mean, there's so many polls.
I guess he would sound with the hardcore Republicans. In the end, I can't see him even getting over 30% approval rating.
Well, I know Congress...
And that's just a political gift from his party.
Exactly. I know that the overall Congress, both parties, had an 11% when he left office, and it's now going back down that direction again. My point is, Obama's approval rating has broken records, according to the major pollsters, for falling the fastest in the first year of a new administration. And now he's losing his base. CBS News last night reported he is putting in 40,000 more troops in Afghanistan. And Jesse, I know you've researched this and are well read on this subject. Let's talk about this right now and then get into the show. There's 12 times the opium, 12 times coming out of Afghanistan of what was coming out 8 years ago. And even the BBC admits our troops are guarding the opium so, quote, the Taliban doesn't get it. No, so the banks can launder $500 billion in smack every year. Governor Ventura, your take on this war?
Well, to me, welcome in my lifetime now. How wonderful it is. Welcome to another Vietnam. It's that simple. It's going to accomplish nothing. Guys are going to die over there on a constant basis as they have in Iraq. And, you know, welcome to another Vietnam. When this is all over and done with, I do it right now, Alex. I sit back and go, how is Jesse Ventura benefiting from these two wars? And I can't think of a thing. And yet, we've got people out there protesting whether people should be able to go see a doctor or not. If we wouldn't have fought these two wars, we'd have plenty of money for health care, wouldn't we?
Absolutely.
And my point is, wars, wars are the most destructive thing mankind can do. And when he engages in them, it has no benefit. It's like Hermann Göring said, the best thing a farmer can get out of a war is to be able to come back on the same farm he left before the war started. That's the best outcome, the very best. There will be nothing more than that. And when is this country going to wake up? You know, I sit back and I can't say I'm speechless because I'm bitching about it right now. But I cannot believe that people aren't protesting these wars. And now we're sending more troops in to accomplish what? The Russians couldn't win there, and we're so stupid, and our ego is so powerful that we think we can.
Well, they can't win the state of objective to bring democracy and freedom to Afghanistan, but if the objective is to destabilize the region and have bases to menace Iran and China, and if the state of objective, the real objective is to launder drug proceeds, then it's mission accomplished. They just need to sit there.
If that's indeed what it is, Alex, then you're absolutely correct. It's mission accomplished. If that's what they're accomplishing out of this, I can't prove that that's what they are or aren't doing at this time, but certainly from a base perspective of Jesse Ventura, American citizen, I don't understand how I benefit by these wars one bit or any of the rest of us benefit by them one bit.
Okay, here's an example, then we'll get into the TV show.
Sure.
I know you've been busy with, producing the television show and flying all over the country, and we'll talk about that. You were really working hard on this. A lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money.
Harder than I wanted.
But at the same time, it came out 2 weeks ago, New York Times, that Mohammed Karzai's brother is the head opium kingpin in Afghanistan, and that he is a CIA operative on CIA payroll, and that basically so is Mohammed Karzai, and that our troops are guarding his poppy fields. And I was driving down the road a few months ago and heard BBC report the same thing before the New York Times did, and I already knew that. But to hear them report that, oh, we guard the opium because if we don't guard it, another Taliban group will get it and then they'll get too much power. That's what they're telling the troops. We guard the opium to win the war.